Hello. Welcome to JCTV Africa this morning. Maybe it's afternoon, wherever you are watching us from across the world. We are going to be talking to you about this topic that you can see on the screen. So, to those that are just joining us, you know what to do. Please subscribe to JCTV Africa, and you can also support us financially by donating to those numbers that are on the screen. Anyway, the story of the day is about Hopewell Chin'ono. I think some of you know him. He has been, going through a lot lately, and one of the things that has been topical about Hopewell Chin'ono in the past few days has been his meeting that he went to in Geneva, Switzerland. And when he spoke about our health system not having a cancer working machine, and that did not sit down well with a lot of people that are in ZANU PF. And one of the staunch supporter of the party, I was going through the internet. I know this guy from 2019. I remember he's the one who actually said when there was protest that was planned after the hiking of the fuel in 2019. He's the one who said that citizens are going to meet citizens. And we saw what happened. A lot of people got injured. A lot of people got some people got raped. A lot of people got killed. So this is the man that I'm going to put on your screen. This is the man that is behind all that. That is the man. His name is Taurai Kandishaya. We actually asked him to have an interview with us the other day, last year. And after having agreed with him, we actually published a poster, and he just disappeared into thin air. So he said he'd agreed to have the interview about the sanctions. He's the one person who has been talking about sanctions and everything. But let's get back to the story of the day. The story of the day here that you can see from this man is that he is after Hopewell Chin'ono's gods. And the reason why they are doing this, I'm going to give it up to you. The reason why they are doing this, so this is one of his posts that he posted, where he was saying that Hopewell Chin'ono, anditi Hopewell Chin'ono aposta mapicture angu ndakabera na ED country we ZANU PF, just like his pictures anachamisa zvekubambudzira zvine na president chikomana, we are coming for the gods, we are unstoppable. So this thing has been going on. If you go and check on his timeline, you can see that he is ranting. So let's just try to see how. But before we also do that, I want to play you something that is on our page, JCTV Zimbabwe. I want to let us just play this audio and hear when he was talking to Tendai Biti last year.
Abiti magadi. Ndaona post ya Manyora. Ndonzi antiga kanji.
Post ipi?
Pa Twitter like yekuti no vanhu vari kufa, nyaya dzemahospitals and staff dzinofanira kugadziriswa. Like you mentioned, my issues yekuti why with compatriots dropping like flies, it's shocking that regime has no plan or program for COVID vaccines.
That's correct.
Like kune COVID vaccine kwacho kwekuti vanhu vanokwanisa kurapwa. Vasiri kufa ndekupi, looking at nyika dzakaita sana Italy nekuna America kwakafa huge numbers.
Vaccine yako kutengeswa. So a prudent government sets out money to buy the vaccines. That's what every other decent country is doing, because vaccines don't favor. So it's not about the people who've died, it's about preventing people, and only the vaccine can stop that.
Okay, saka kuna ana America vakatadza here kuaccessa vaccine yacho since kwakafiwa masvika.
Don't ask me stupid questions.
Aya,
The vaccine has only been discovered now.
teerera iwe usanditi ndiri kuvhunza stupid questions. Inzwayo
The
avoid
vaccine has only been discovered now.
biti
You understand?
biti
So people are...
dzidza kutaura usingati stupid.
Shamari, you're the one who phoned me, not
But haundudze zvekuti stupid ka when you are the rightful stupid handaura zina basa. Vabiti makadini.
So this is the guy, to those that don't know him, that is Taurai Kandishaya, with the Director for Information, Mr. Tafadzo Mugwadi. So the way how I see it is that earlier this year we broadcasted, if you go on JCTV Africa, you see where we said Hopewell Chin'ono, source of wealth revealed. And we were saying Hopewell Chin'ono has been preaching about his project on goats last year, and how young people should invest in farming and Bura goats. And I made a rough calculation on that video, so please go and check it out. Excuse me. And I made a rough calculation of how Hopewell Chin'ono is making his money, because a lot of things have been going on. People are saying Hopewell Chin'ono is getting money from the US, is getting money from there, is getting money from there, getting money from there. Nobody was able to trace where his money is coming from. So now they found out that he's making money through goats, because he's selling those goats and he's making money. They want to cut his source of income. And the goal of cutting his source of income is to make sure that he does not have ability to speak out, right? So that is the goal that they want to achieve here, and it's all about him not being able to speak out, because most of the things that he's speaking is true, and most of the things that he has spoken in the past, those are some of the things that I don't agree. There are some things that I don't agree with him on the issue of Russia invasion and other stuff. We have got different opinions, but we should be able to say, yes, we don't agree on this one, we don't agree on that one, but it must not take us to those lengths of saying I need to steal Hopewell Chin'ono's source of livelihood. Because when he built that, obviously he built it with an intention to say, when I retire, I should be retiring with this, because that is going to be my source of income until maybe probably I die. And mind you, Hopewell Chin'ono's title deeds are still not with him. This is the house that he has, where he's sitting there with Nelson Chamisa. Let me just bring this to you. This is the house where he's sitting with Nelson Chamisa here on the screen. Let's just go there, where he's sitting on his house. Most of you know it, this house. And Mr. Chin'ono has been, talking, and he's talking about his experience, and this is with Turner, Jed Turner, the owner of CNN, and this picture has been used to say that he is, has been bought by people from the West, So my argument is this: they are saying that the goats that he has, these goats are from the government. It was a community project that was supposed to benefit the government. And Hopewell Chin'ono has denied this, and they said that, look guys, I have had my share. Let me just go to his page so that we can understand where is this coming from. All right, let's go to Hopewell Chin'ono. All right. Hopewell Chin'ono here. All right. Let's go to his page and see what he's saying. about all this that is happening. Okay, trying to scroll down. Okay. I'm trying to, sorry about that. I'm trying to see here. Yeah. So Hopewell Chin'ono has been talking about this. Let me just get to this. All right, let's get to the. All right. So I hope you can see this on the screen. My screen here is a little bit smaller. All right. Right, here we go. Right, so let's go to Hopewell Chin'ono's timeline and see what he's talking about, and see what he has been, this is the report that was posted on ZBC. So let's hear what it says.
Mr. Chin'ono acquired gods, which he personalized, though it was meant to benefit his community in Murewa. It leaves one to.
All right. So that is the report, a snippet of a report that was on ZBC. Let's see the man with the president. That's him, the guy who is accusing Hopewell Chin'ono of stealing the gods. That's Taurai Kandishaya, who is in the middle without a scarf. Right, that's him there. Let's go down and see what Hopewell Chin'ono has to say. And he has actually brought some V11s. This is how he bought the gods. This is control of goods, the declaration form that you have at the border here, and it is stamped. And then there's the other picture where he bought the gods in South Africa. It's Viksras. I don't know how to pronounce Afrikaans, but that is where he bought the gods, and these are the receipts of the gods that he bought. So it's there. So it's very true that Hopewell Chin'ono bought these gods and they are his. How come they've become a community project? Right. So let's go to where he actually spoke about this here. This is how it all started. Hopewell Chin'ono, we are coming. Don't worry. You got the gods from the government as a pass-on project. Your stand was even extended by the government to accommodate more gods. We have evidence. So I don't know if Taurai Kandishaya is the government, and Taurai Kandishaya should act on behalf of the government. That is the question. Why is it that Taurai Kandishaya, a mere ZANU PF member, is acting on behalf of the government? Why is he instigating people? You remember Hopewell Chin'ono was arrested in 2020 for instigating violence, right? And trying to make sure that they bring instability in the country. That was his charge in 2020, together with Jacob Ngarevume. So my question is, if Hopewell Chin'ono was arrested for exposing corruption and he was charged for instigating violence, right? This man is saying, just go and collect your share, which means that he's saying the people that are in Murewa, they should just go and loot Hopewell Chin'ono's gods right? Is this not instigating violence? If we are going to do the same and say everyone who got a farm from the government, anyone should just go there and loot and get their share, are we really going ahead as a country? So as I said earlier on, that this project or this move, one is to try and silence Hopewell Chin'ono, because if they steal his gods, where his livelihood is coming from, they are trying to cut his income to make sure that he does not have a source of income. Because much of the things that we do, even in journalism, you cannot work as a journalist or as a reporter and access information without money. For example, right now, for me to be broadcasting to you, I need money. I need money to buy data. Where even if I was using Wi-Fi, I need that money to be able to. So for Hopewell Chin'ono to be able to publish those videos, he needs data, and that data is not for free. You have to buy it from a service provider. So that's why it is going to be difficult for Hopewell Chin'ono to broadcast, to be doing those exposures and everything without data. And also, you remember there are other projects that Hopewell Chin'ono has embarked on of exposing corruption. And in all those things, he has to talk to some people. And when you cannot talk to people without airtime, that cannot happen. So that makes his job as a journalist difficult. So that is the plan, to make sure that Hopewell Chin'ono is incapacitated and he cannot perform his duty as a journalist. So tell me what you think in the comment section. I would love to hear from you about this as we are talking about this project. If you're watching this as a rebroadcast or if you're watching this as a broadcast, what do you think about this man called that is the plan. Okay. Taurai Kandishaya. As I have said, if you Google him, this guy, if you go on the internet, you check on 19 January, he is the one who instigated, and he has got blood on his hands, if we can say that. He's got blood on his hands of the people that died on January 2019. There are a lot of people that were affected. And not only that, there was a time when he was terrorizing Mr. Job Scala. He had people that would go to his house and terrorize Mr. Job Scala. So he's well known for doing this, you know. So this is the kind of a person that he is, and it's very, very shameful that we have such kind of people in our country who still call themselves that they are in a democratic country, because this is totally outrageous. And the goal that they want is to make sure that they cut his source of livelihood, and by so doing they make sure that he cannot speak out as he is supposed to. So let's just listen to some of his sentiments. You remember earlier on he said that the reason why we were kicked out of the Africa Cup of Nations, it was because of Tendai Biti. I don't know how those things correlate. He actually said that the reason why we were kicked out of Africa Cup of Nations was because of Tendai Biti. The likes of Malawi, they got funding from IMF. So that's why we were kicked out of that.
Media crew for coming to cover this statement that I'm going to issue here. The statement is a response to allegations by one Tendai Biti that I issued him some death threats. So the background of the story is simply that on Friday I called Tendai Biti on phone, and this is not the first time to call him. He has my number, he has his number, to check and to seek clarity on the tweet he had posted concerning the death of people due to COVID-19. So I asked him simple questions on what he expected the government to do so that they can save people from the pandemic. And I ended up besting, calling me stupid. We had an exchange. The next thing, I was reading in newspapers and on the internet that he was issued with a death threat. And to my surprise, even standard newspaper, they wrote it without seeking clarification from me, and nobody has the message for the death threat. So, as some of you may know, I have a name which is almost equal to Wananchi, which is also equal to Wamba or Nero, that goes by Antigagat. And I come before you today with a heavy heart due to the devastating effect of the global pandemic, COVID-19. We are all witnessing how the virus is causing untold suffering to humanity, locally and internationally. The disease has caused unprecedented deaths as well as disruption of the normal ways of living. Unfortunately and sadly, so to say, at a time when leaders in society are expected to be diligently leading the fight against this deadly pandemic, one of the country's legislators, Honorable Tendai Biti, has been making concerted efforts to settle political scores and gain political relevance by seeking to block COVID-19 aid to Zimbabwe. On the 21st of May in 2020, Mr. Biti arrogated himself the role of a state overseer, a role which he quickly assumed and wrote a letter to the World Bank President, Mr. David Malpass. He copied the letter to the bank's VP for Africa, Mr. Hafez Ghanem. In the letter, and in his bid to block the nation from accessing the COVID-19 relief fund, Mr. Biti made spurious allegations against the state and government. Mr. Biti made, among others, the following shocking allegations: that the government was leasing private jets, that the corruption level in Zimbabwe was high, that economic levels were hollow, that violence and forced disappearances were prevalent and widespread, and that through the national lockdown, which is a WHO brainchild, the government was stealing from the people. Surprisingly, the World Bank quickly heeded to its political smear campaign, and Zimbabwe was denied the relief fund, even though she is a member of the World Bank. Other neighboring countries have since been given the relief fund and are working on helping people during this difficult time by improving the health sector and securing medication and maybe the vaccine. Interestingly, now that the COVID-19 infections and deaths have spiked, Mr. Tendai Biti, being the self-proclaimed overseer of this nation, has been ironically making the loudest noise, mainly through social media. He is on record accusing the government for failing to secure the vaccine. I am not a government official, neither am I an official of any political party. However, I feel obliged by our constitution to recognize Mr. Biti as a leader by virtue of him having been duly elected in free and fair national elections held in 2018. As a citizen, I challenge Mr. Biti to a bilateral dialogue. He is a member of parliament and I think he is accustomed to debates and engagements.
All right, on that note, he said, this was last year, that he is not a member of any political party. This is what he said. This is not me. He is saying that he is not a member of any political party. Let's just play it back so that I don't use my own words. All right, let's hear.
Free and fair national elections held in 2018. As a citizen, I challenge Mr. Biti to a bilateral dialogue.
Okay.
He is I am not a government official, neither am I an official of any political party.
Right.
However, I feel...
Right, that was last year. He was saying that he's not an official of any political party. How come he has now assumed a national membership of ZANU PF if he was not an official of any political party? Because remember, you can't just rise through the ranks in a space of a year to become a national member of a big political party. You have to go through the ranks. And how did he manage to sideswipe some of the existing members of ZANU PF and become a national member? He wanted to be a leader of the youth. So how did he come? How come he managed to? So which means that somewhere there is corruption in the party. Anyway, let's continue to hear his ranting.
We are obliged by our constitution to recognize Mr. Biti as a leader by virtue of him having been duly elected in free and fair national elections held in 2018. As a citizen, I challenge Mr. Biti to a bilateral dialogue. He is a member of parliament and I think he is accustomed to debates and engagements. I hope he will welcome my challenge. Perhaps you might want to know the background of this presser, which I have already indicated earlier on. We had a 1 minute 30 seconds conversation, which I recorded myself, and there was no threats. But now Mr. Biti resorted to insults and all claims. Surprisingly, the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights was quick to tarnish my image by publicizing unverified falsehoods. Similarly, the Standard newspaper also wrote a biased article without even verifying the facts or showing objectivity by calling me to hear my side of the story. All these actions have caused harm to my personal standing, family, and in many ways, and I will seek legal counsel to ensure that justice is served. Up to now, most of us believe that by blocking Zimbabwe from accessing the COVID-19 funds, Mr. Biti sabotaged Zimbabwe to ensure that the nation becomes crippled and unable to curb the pandemic. Noteworthy is his celebratory mood, which persuades one to conclude that it is an indication that Mr. Biti had the intentions to see Zimbabweans dying and suffering, all for his selfish, narrow, and myopic political ambitions. The nation should recall that this is the same Mr. Biti who went to Western countries, European countries, begging for sanctions on Zimbabwe. The same Taurai Biti who fueled violent terror attacks that left a trail of blood and destruction of property. The same Biti who, through his henchmen in the United Kingdom, organized attacks on the nation's late Foreign Affairs International Trade Minister, retired General S.B. Moyo. Although UN and USA have never said or done anything about the attack on a diplomat, like they make noise when opposition officials are arrested for corruption. Personally, I will seek legal recourse to ensure that justice is served for my people and the late general. Interestingly, Mr. Taurai Biti has a vast empire of wealth and seems to be unconcerned about the welfare of ordinary Zimbabweans. Of course, he cannot explain how he amassed his wealth. As a wealthy person, perhaps the reason he blocked aid to Zimbabwe is that he is not concerned by the welfare of the majority of Zimbabweans in townships and rural areas, since he is worth millions. He can afford the best health facilities as well as educational facilities. For instance, since the American embassy in Zimbabwe plays more of a surrogate father role to Mr. Biti, it may not be surprising that Biti has been vaccinated by Americans already. More so, today his daughter is at Harvard University at the expense of suffering poor families. However, it is not too late for Mr. Biti to rectify these wrongs. First of all, since the World Bank seemed to respect and listen to him so much, Mr. Biti should go back and ask the bank to finally assist Zimbabwe. The task I am leaving to him also is that he should show Zimbabweans evidence that the government of Zimbabwe has failed to secure vaccine. He must also bring to the public evidence of corruption as he alleges. He must also show Zimbabweans a text message or a call recording where I threatened him with death. I don't think there's any sane person who can threaten Taurai Biti with death. He is one person I know who has fear, unknown fear. He is one person who can run away from his own shadow. There is no need to threaten Taurai Biti when he is already living in fear. As I end, I urge the relevant authorities like the Parliament of Zimbabwe, Human Rights Commission, United Nations, and AU to intervene and ensure that the right of life is upheld in Zimbabwe. I also remind Mr. Taurai Biti as one of our.
Okay. Anyway, I wanted to show you one of the chats that I had with him, and where he ignored me. He is saying that he needed a right to reply, and we have given him that right to reply a number of that time when he wanted to talk about sanctions, and I've called him a number of times. He has not responded to my calls, so I don't know if let me just show you so that you can see that I'm not bluffing. Okay, so let me just go to that conversation that I had with him. So that you guys can see where he where I had a conversation with him. All right, here we go. All right, Ash, I'm trying to show you the conversation that I had with him, but maybe for the sake of time and so that I don't waste your time, people, I just want to show you the conversation that I had with him here on my WhatsApp. Okay, here we go. To those, all right, to those that can see this, that is him here. Okay, you can see I was talking to him. Just try to screenshot this so that you can see what I'm talking about. All right, and I told him we are ready whenever you are ready, and I sent him a text message, and we thought that we had an agreement, and to my surprise, it just went quiet. I don't know, probably I was told don't appear on that channel, but I always have people from ZANU PF on our channel, so it's not the first time, but he has refused to come. So anyway, we can all conclude that he wants to grandstand and do whatever he wants to do. So that is all that I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, here on JCTV Africa. This is the man that is threatening Hopewell Chin'ono, and they want to take his gods. For the reason, I believe, is to make sure that Hopewell Chin'ono, they stop his livelihood, or they cut his supply of money. Why? Because if he does not have money, then it will be very difficult for him to work. It will be very difficult for him to campaign. It will be very difficult for him to do the things that he does, because they have accused him of getting money from the West. They've taken his title deeds. Now they want to take his gods. What do you think? For me, it is painful, because people are running away from other countries right now. People are struggling to go back to Zimbabwe. You go to Zimbabwe, you start your project, someone will come and take it and say it is a project of the government. But the receipts are there that Hopewell Chin'ono purchased his gods from South Africa and got a license from the government to keep his gods. It is the government's mandate to give people land. And if Hopewell Chin'ono applied for land, it was given to him. There is nothing wrong, as long as he's got all the proper documentation. Why is this man asking for him to get his property and instigate people to steal his property? I don't get it. Anyway, that's what I have for you guys. What do you think about this man, Taurai Kandishaya? Go and check him out on his social media platforms and see what he is saying. Thank you. I will see you again on the next episode. I'll be coming back maybe in the next 20 minutes for another broadcast again.